Hi, everyone. Welcome to day 4 of the Storytelling Challenge. I'm here with James, who is a book coach, and he works with entrepreneurs around the country to help them launch profitable, awesome books. So, James, tell us, how did you get involved with book editing?
So you actually mentioned two different things that I do. I'm a book coach and an editor. I'm also a ghostwriter. So it's all under the umbrella of book creation and helping people create masterpieces as they write books. I got started doing that. I actually was doing freelance article writing for a while, and that led me into some freelance editing work. And I had a number of friends who were writing books at the time, and a couple of them hired me to edit at first, and some of those books have done really well. That led me to move forward into doing this. I connected with a book marketing person and a designer and some other people like that. So my business, The Master Wordsmith, now offers comprehensive book services or a la carte book services, depending on what people need.
Okay, cool. And for our participants watching, James and I were introduced through our speaking agent. Mm-hmm. We're doing an event in New York City in August for elite coaches and elite speakers, and we are creating something about myth busting on the publishing industry. And so I'm talking about myth busting around personal essays, and James is coming at it from a book perspective. So again, James, the reason I brought James into the challenge is because storytelling is multifaceted. There's brand storytelling that we talked a little bit about yesterday. There's personal storytelling, there's stage storytelling, and then there's book storytelling. So storytelling is multifaceted. And
absolutely,
we've done, I've given you some insights into a little bit of everything. Okay, so talk about brand visibility from a business perspective in terms of what's important for a business leader to have before coming to you and creating a book.
So before coming to me, if you're wanting to work with me, it helps to have a certain amount of success in your business already, because A, that gives you the resources to work with a book coach or a book creation team. But more importantly, B, it also gives you a pretty clear idea of who you are, who your audience is, what you want to say to them, and why they want to hear it. So obviously working with someone like Carrie or with me, you can figure those things out if you don't already know them. And that's great. But if you have those senses already from whatever brand work that you've done, whatever storytelling work that you've done, or just running the business for a while, that really will give you a leg up on, what is the premise of your book going to be? What is the thing that you really want these people to know that you're writing the book about?
Right.
Why is that important to them? Why do you have a right to say it? Things like that are all going to be part of the book creation process before you even start, or before you ever start actually writing it.
Yeah, so a lot of it is mental mindset before coming to you, already knowing who you are, why you do what you do, having an idea of your brand, your tribe, what they're looking for, and your voice. Your voice is so key before you start the book, knowing not just what you're going to say, but how you're going to say it and why it's important.
Exactly. Now, to be fair, a book coach can help you develop those things. Okay. Even if you don't have them, we can help you develop them. If you have them part way, we can help you finish them out, etc. But it can be very helpful to the book process if you have some idea of them, or you've been able to develop them independently before we get started. Either way will work.
I love it. So what are some of the books? Can you name some of the books that you've worked on? Give some examples.
Yeah, sure. So the first book that I edited, which is still one of the ones that I'm most proud of, is called Profit Hacking. It's by a guy named Stephen Darr. You can find it on Amazon. One of the things that I really love about this book, it's about traffic and conversions and economics of websites, which he was a genius at marketing for that. What I love about that book, aside from the fact that he takes a really complicated topic and makes it really accessible, which is huge. You have to have that in any book. But what I love even more about that is that he wrote it almost 2 years ago at this point, and it's still doing really, really well. If you go on Amazon and you find it, it's still selling.
I love that.
And because this is an interesting note about Amazon, and I could talk about Amazon for hours. One of the things about Amazon refreshes sales every hour. So if a book does really well for a little while because you put a lot of marketing into it, or you did a big launch, or you discounted the price or whatever, that's fine, but it doesn't really say as much about how well your book is selling as a lot of people tend to think it is.
Yes.
Whereas if you have a book that is such a good quality book, that is clear, that is accessible, that is powerful, that solves problems, that relieves pain, that book will still be selling a year from now, 2 years from now, 20 years from now.
Yeah.
That's a huge goal for book creation that a lot of people tend to overlook in the, frankly, marketing saturated environment that is the self-publishing industry right now.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I really love about that book. Another book, this is my bragging book. I also do some work with a couple of publishing companies, and through one of them, I edited a book called Connect by Josh Turner, which is all about LinkedIn marketing. And that book became a Wall Street Journal bestseller. So I get to say I'm a Wall Street Journal bestselling editor. So that's fun.
Oh, you're so cool. I love that. I've actually read that one. And then I love the book Launch, which is a great book.
Yep.
But
I know of that one.
Profit Hacking, we'll have to give some love to that in our Facebook group.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
And for those of you who are a little less business-oriented and maybe a little more personal development-oriented or coaching-oriented, I also worked with I've worked with a number of coaches. One of the ones that stands out is a woman. Her name is Jolie Dawn, and she wrote a book for she's a women's coach. She wrote a book for women called Empowered, Sexy, and Free. And I helped her edit that. And that's not something I would read per se, but editing it was really fun, and it had a lot of really great points in it. So I know, Carrie, your audience has a lot of women in it who might be interested in something like that as well. So
yeah, what I'm finding is my audience are entrepreneurs who are on the edge of breakthrough and who are ready to use the story to catapult them into a new program or some new attention, or really kind of succeeding in their story. And I do tend to attract coaches and career coaches, transformational coaches.
Yep.
The transformational umbrella is everything from divorce to career to entrepreneurship to lifestyle. I'm having a lot of fun watching who I'm attracting. And the reason, for those of you watching, the reason I like to collaborate with James is because I'm the person that you work with to help build your tribe in terms of your saleable approach through personal storytelling. And then James is a person that can help you take your tribe and create your next product. So it is like a streamlined process. And I love it. Okay, so there are a number of people in here who are transformational coaches, business coaches. My business coach is part of this challenge. And I can feel her thinking, how should she should. She's got a beautiful approach to working with women. She loves working with women who are ready to own their God-given talents and create businesses around it. And she's really good at creating sales funnels. So what would you say to somebody who is ready to create a book, who has a tribe? What's their next step?
Their next step is to talk with me. Thank you for letting me put in the shameless plug. So when you've built up a certain amount of following, you're good at what you do, people are starting to know you for being good at what you do. As some of the mentors that I work with, Suzanne Evans and Larry Winget, they like to put it in the order of get good, get known, get paid. And obviously sometimes that gets switched around, but as whatever it is you're doing in your business, you're probably already pretty good at. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing a business on it. Once you start to get known for being good at that, that is when you can start, monetizing it through a program or creating a book to even build that authority even more. So people want to pay you more for what you have. Authority and credibility are two of the really big and important things that a book can give you. Whether that's as simple as giving somebody your book instead of your business card, which is actually a kind of a hack that not even many people think of. You say, hey, what do? You hand somebody a business card, and then they have to ask you like 10 more questions. You hand somebody your book, you're like, this is what I do. Yeah. This is everything I do. This is how I can help you or someone like you with whatever it is you need help with by, reading in in chapter 6, we talk about the thing you just mentioned or something like that.
Good hack.
It is positioning yourself as an expert, and assuming you write a good quality book that actually has expertise in it that people will get good value from, then that's a valid reason to have a book, and it's a valid next step for what you want to do. Because when you are both positioned and validated as an expert, as someone who creates this quality value for people in book form, you can turn that into a product. You can parlay that into working with higher level clients. You can extend that into talking about your book. This is where Carrie and I are connected in the speaking that we're going to do. She talks about storytelling, and I talk about book creation and how people should never take shortcuts because they always cost more in the long run.
Yeah.
When you have a book, a good book, a quality book, and I'm going to keep harping on that, by the way, that can get you these higher level next step type of things, type of opportunities, and frankly, types of paychecks.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm going to touch on that rushing.
Yeah, there was a lot all in one there. Sorry.
Okay, that's important because it is. I mean, so many people have a book in them or are on the verge of, what's my next step? How can I step up? How can I move into my next career, ladder here? And the book could be your next step easily.
Absolutely.
How to do that though? There's a lot of everyone's talking about self-publishing, and it is a really hard. Self-publishing is super duper hard, and that's an entire challenge that we should look at doing some other time because
sure.
People don't really understand what they're getting into when they get into it. But I'm going to touch on the quality concept of creating the book. That goes with storytelling across the board. When you're putting out a personal essay that is quick and just for you to get something off your chest, that's not going to land. You're not going to have the results. When you're creating something at a soul level and you're giving people value, you're going to have people joining your tribe, right? Same thing with a book. When you've created the time and the space to put something together that can last 10, 15, 20 years, you're going to consistently find profit, find additional tribe members. Mm-hmm. It's going to help you with your business, your speaking opportunities, additional writing opportunities. Quality is important across the board. So yeah, sure. No,
a book is an asset, and if anyone in who's listening right now has any kind of financial background, they understand that an asset is something you own that brings value to you continuously over time.
True.
And to acquire an asset, other assets are real estates or mutual funds or insurance policies type of things. You have to put an investment into that, but once you put in the investment, it keeps paying you back as long as it exists, which frankly will be the rest of your life. So a book works exactly the same way. And I encourage, my clients and anybody who I talk to about this to think of the book not as a quick marketing hack that is going to, jump you forward into whatever the next thing you want to do is, but as an asset that you're going to have for your business for the rest of your life that will never stop giving you value. Yeah. So not only is that a good reason to invest as much in it as you can afford, but it's also a good reason to make it the best quality that you can.
I love that.
One of my, there's a podcaster that I know, his name is Srinivas Rao, and he has a quote that I love that says, "You cannot hide bad art behind great marketing."
Oh, I love that.
And he actually said a different word than bad, but I don't know. This is a family-friendly podcast or interview. But and I love that because A, it's true, but B, more importantly, if you do that, all that's going to do is tell a lot more people that your product isn't any good, that you're not actually giving them any value, and that's not going to help.
Yeah, I know. Storytellers, I love storytellers, and there's so much out there that we can give them and we can teach them. And it is, you can't do it all in one challenge. And so after our New York trip, we definitely should sit down and figure out a way to do a challenge around this concept of, all right, what's next? The self-publishing or the tribe and things like that. But
absolutely.
So is there anything, give listeners one tip into like, give them a tip on what to do once they have their book. What do you think, most importantly, what do you think they have to do next?
So once they've written the book and it's all, finished and everything, so the writing, the editing, the design, all of that, they have the book. Okay. Decide, and you can decide this while you're writing the book, but decide if you want to try and publish it traditionally or if you don't. I go with don't, because traditional publishing is it's hard to get into if you don't already have a gigantic following. Seth Adam Smith, who's another author I've read and I've worked with, likes to say that books don't create movements, movements create books. Yeah. Traditional publishers don't tend to pick up authors unless they already have like gigantic Twitter feeds or YouTube followings or something like that. If you've got that, great. But, I don't, and I imagine many of you listening don't as well. So if you're going to go with self-publishing, a couple tips, figure out a little bit of what you want to get out of the book. If you want to speak around the book, you can start looking for podcasts to get on, or interviews like this one, or telesummits. If you want the book to dovetail with the business that you already have, look at ways that your business is promoting itself already or can promote itself that you can just dovetail the book into. Yeah. If all you really want to do is make money from book sales, don't write a book.
It's not work. It doesn't work.
Just don't. I mean,
it's so much. It's a full-time job.
Well, aside from the fact that it's a full-time job, like wanting to become a bestseller, and that term does not mean what most people think it means, so we could have a whole other interview about that, or just to make money from book sales, if those are your goals, you don't want to write a book. You just want to have written one.
Yeah.
And then either pay someone, me or someone like me, 5 figures to write it, and then pay someone else 6 figures to market it for you. You can make that money back over time, but I mean, you will have invested a lot of money already. But if you're coming at it from a bootstrapping or a low level or a just starting out time frame, it's a little bit of a harsh truth. You're gonna spend money on this book that you won't get back from sales. You'll get it back from clients or from speaking gigs or from a program that you make out of the book or something like that happens afterwards, but you're not going to make it back from sales. Even if you have an amazing launch, because you'll probably have discounted the price of the book for the launch and it'll last however long it lasts, and then it'll peter out and so on and so on.
Yeah.
Look for the ROI in what your next steps are going to be, whether that is creating a product or building up your speaking career or booking new clients or something along those lines.
Right. And
use the book to build towards those. Do not just sort of throw it up on Amazon with however much marketing you're going to do and then expect, the money start rolling in. It's not going to happen.
I appreciate that. And so do so many others, because it is, like I said, I feel like there's education that has to go into it from a storytelling, for storytellers, and it's not what you think when you get into it. So.
No, it really isn't. Although I will say, if you do want to make money from book sales, write like 20 books.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there are people out there who make 5 figures a month just from book sales because they've written like 20 books and they all cross-promote each other. You want to do that, knock yourself out. But if you're going to write 1 or even 2 or 3 books at most, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your time. I'm sure our audience does as well. And James is a part of the Soulful Storyteller Facebook group. So if you have questions, tag him. I will for sure tag you on day 4, so Thursday. And I'll make sure that our Facebook prompt has something to do with books. And if you see any comments that you can add value to, please do.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. And if any of you guys would like to talk more about either book coaching or moving forward with a book or anything like that, I'd be more than happy to talk with you. And I'm in the Facebook group. Just tag me and I'll answer as quickly as I can.
Awesome. Well, thanks, James. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, Carrie. It's been a pleasure.
Bye-bye.